We have our Friday afternoon podcast. We get to meet another entrepreneur in the market, Luis Delgado. Big shout out to Mike Larkin. Good seeing you last night. We had dinner live. So Luis, Mike says that you've got a big idea that we want to hear. So we're going to turn it over to Luis Delgado. And what do you have to say today, Luis? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, guys. First and foremost, I want to thank God for the strength, for the vision, the purpose that guides every step of the journey. And without his grace, none of this would be possible. I also want to thank Mike Larkin for the invite and for opening a space for conversations on a massive opportunity, on a massive industry.
Oh, preach on with your bad self.
Man, thank you, Mike. So, hey, guys, I just want to share something that's kind of obvious, but it's not obvious. But before we get into that, and that's, by the way, this is the Hispanic market and its impact in the automotive space. A little bit backstory of myself. I grew up in Mexico. I grew up in the mountains of Mexico. It's a very small community where actually like clean water, reliable roads, and internet access is sort of like a luxury. It's not a guarantee. And kind of ironically, I'm doing marketing now and talking about the internet. But I didn't grow up dreaming of like marketing or software or anything like that. I grew up dreaming of possibilities, and that's actually what brought me to the United States, possibilities. And I came to the United States when I was 10 years old, the greatest country in the world, by the way. And this is where I face my own kind of challenges, like language barriers, cultural like gaps, and like, quite frankly, just the hard reality of the opportunity that isn't always handed to those that work the hardest, right? I wasn't necessarily here to ask for a seat at the table. As a kid, I've always felt that I was here to build one. So over time, I realized something is that the Hispanic market, my community, is constantly overlooked, and especially in automotive, even real estate too. But businesses, dealerships, essentially, they want the dollars, but not necessarily, they want to put in the work, or they don't want to speak the voice of the Hispanic market. I knew that had to change, and that's what led me to co-found Altura Automotive. Altura Social is the agency, but Altura Automotive is a branch of it. And my mission is simple. It's simply to help dealers stop treating the Hispanic market like an afterthought and literally start building campaigns, content, and strategy that truly reflects the people they serve. Sometimes that just means running a video ad in Spanish, right? And sometimes it's coaching a dealership on how to show up differently online, but always it means to grow within the community and building genuine trust, which is what moves the needle. And that is why it takes time and hard work to reach the Hispanic market, because it takes work. It takes genuine work, trust, relationship building, because Hispanics are the ones that are willing to drive 3 hours to buy a car, 4 hours to drive a car, driving past dozens of dealerships that have no idea that there's a car buyer driving by them, right? So to me, in marketing is not just about like tools and like gimmicks. It's about communication. And if you're not speaking the customer's language, literally and like culturally within the team, the sales team, you're missing on the most powerful growth opportunity in the United States today. Here's some just quick stats. 1 out of 4 cars are actually purchased by Hispanics. So really it's 26% of all vehicle sales are purchased by Hispanics. And now, talking about the growth, the Hispanic market has done 68% of the growth in the automotive sector. And now there's other studies that you can there's studies that show that out of 27,000 dealerships, only 8% had a clear Spanish content in their website and their socials. And within other dealers, there's it shows the studies that show 89% showed no obvious Spanish language content, which means that only 11% do, yet 1 out of 4 cars are purchased by Hispanics. What that means is if a dealer is not selling 1 out of 4 cars in their store, a Hispanic is buying somewhere else. And that just shows kind of like the opportunity per se of what's happening within the marketplace. And that's where my passion comes. It's more than just marketing. It's more than just content. It's more than just gimmicks. It's an emergency. It's a state of emergency that there's too many Hispanics and not enough dealers with the infrastructure to cater to them. So what happens is that a Hispanic goes into a buy here, pay here and gets screwed with fixed interest rates. It gets screwed with a bad car. It gets screwed by not being able to build their credit properly simply because they are afraid. They are intimidated by the big franchise dealer not having any idea that it can buy a new car, a legitimate, good car from a dealership simply because the dealer is not entering the marketplace with something as simple as a Spanish video. That's as simple as it gets. And another analogy is like if you go to China, wouldn't you want to buy a car with a dealer that speaks English? Kind of very basic mechanism at play here, right? But essentially, that's the opportunity, guys. That's the problem that I see in the marketplace. And I kind of jump right in the gun into this. I don't really know exactly how you guys handle the podcast. I kind of went into the game with this, but let's start a conversation. What do you guys think about the industry?
Louis, I got a question for you, because when you say the Hispanic community, you're talking a whole bunch of countries, a whole bunch of people that speak Spanish, but a whole bunch of different dialects, a whole bunch of different slang, a whole bunch of different ways to emphasize yourself or get your message out. Have you been seeing different messages for those specific pockets of this Hispanic community? Somebody from Mexico is going to speak different kinds of Spanish from Puerto Rico or Spain itself, or you know what I'm saying is that the Spanish-speaking community is a huge opportunity, but not all fitting into one pigeonhole, or can it fit into one pigeonhole? You say, Spanish video. If I do a Spanish video, will it resonate with all the Spanish-speaking people, or will it disclude people that don't speak that exact Spanish? Or they'll go and I go, that guy's from Mexico. That guy's from Venezuela. That guy, you know what I'm saying with the question?
Yes. What I would say is there's no shortage of Hispanics. So use the resources that you currently have. You got a Puerto Rican, put him on camera. You got a Colombian, put him on camera. There's no shortage of Hispanics anywhere you go. And when a Hispanic is willing to drive 3 hours to buy a car, because it's not a typical buyer. It's not a I want a Corolla that's red, that's limited package, that's this interest rates. No, a big majority of the Hispanics are get me dones. Can you get me done? Can you help me through the process? Can you help me through this special situation that I have, which is a tax ID, right? That a lot of times they have no idea that they have credit on that tax ID, right? And I went to Mexico about a year ago. I was not acquainted with this. I went into Mexico, and obviously we've been in this industry for 9 years, and we've been in the marketing agency for 9 years. But it was my first time actually going to Mexico with this mindset of the automotive. So I would drive by dealers, and I would look at dealers, and I would look at where's the inventory? Like it's like this store with just like it looked like a Tesla store. Where's the inventory? Turns out that if you go to Mexico, if you go to Colombia, if you go to a lot of South American countries and you try to buy a car, you don't get it the same day. You actually have to go through a process that takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks to even get qualified. And then once you get qualified for the car, you have to wait another 3 weeks to pick up the car. So it's not, people that come to the United States are not acquainted with the way credit works, the way buying a car works. So it takes time educating. But to answer your question, if you got a Puerto Rican, use a Puerto Rican. Hey, you got somebody that's broken Spanish, use them, right? Use the resources that you have at hand. And something as simple as just creating a video in Spanish is going to take you, it's going to take you longer than not having any video at all. And by the way, trying to make the Hispanic market to work the first time, it's almost like trying to play the guitar the first time. You're not going to get it the first time. It's a matter of testing, playing the process. There's really challenges coming into the dealership where some people might come in with no driver's license. What do you do there? Right? It's a learning curve. And it's a lot of the customers that get me done. They're not looking for an APR. They're not looking, at least first generation Hispanics, which is a big chunk of what's in the United States right now. Right? Second generation, third generation, they're a little bit more educated. They might know what credit is. They know what credit is. You're acquainted. They bought, maybe their parents bought 1, 2, 3 cars, right? So they're more and more acquainted. So the Hispanic market right now in the United States, it's almost like grandparents, like back in the day. Like you have a guy that would buy Ford, and that's all they would buy. They would buy Chevy, and that's all they would buy. They buy Wonder Bread, and that's the only bread that they would buy. That's Hispanics right now. And it's not going to be like that forever. It's not going to be like that for the next 10 years, maybe next 5 years. Who knows when things are going to change? Who knows when the mentality is going to change? But right now, the Hispanic market, it's a problem. Too many, not enough dealers with the infrastructure to cater to them.
Couple of things. Louis, been listening, and I'm also, there he is. There's our pal, Larry. Welcome to the show, Larry.
Thank you so kindly, sir. Louis, nice to meet you, sir.
Nice lid, Larry.
So Louis, I want to share some information, and you're pretty amazing what you just kind of said. Number one is that from a compliance standpoint, the FTC requires the dealer to have their purchase and sale agreements in Spanish. And if you walked into a dealership and said, I want to read my purchase and sale agreement and I want to read it in Spanish, unfortunately, you know what you would get. We don't. What are you talking about? So there are laws about putting information in Spanish and break it down and let people understand it. So that's just, my compliance hat on. But I'm going to go back to, because it's amazing, I'm going back to 1996, where I was a finance manager at Herb Chambers, Mitsubishi, and we had Hyundai. And there was a tremendous Puerto Rican migration coming from Puerto Rico into Hartford. And what we would do is we would actually bring the radio station to our lot. And you're absolutely right. They are loyal. They like, we would go to Puerto Rico, and Hyundai was a car that they felt they could get. And we learned that we needed to have finance managers who could speak Spanish. We needed salespeople. I had a salesperson. His name was Jose Espinoza. Jose was a really good salesperson, and I would bring Jose into my office so he could disclose the bank. He could let them know what the rates were, because as much as they may have known English, they want to hear it in their own language. And you said it. And when they're intimidated, and the only stores that they're going to are the stores that are a beat 'em up, chew 'em up, you are missing a ton of very, very hardworking, solid citizens that are a part of the community. And you're right. When you don't even have, I want to read it in Spanish, give me my numbers in Spanish. And it's unfortunately another spot that dealers are missing the mark. And so you are on a really hot topic. And it's interesting. I mean, people don't realize this, but I enjoy going to Puerto Rico. there are 200 franchise dealerships on the island. And, and they recognize the brand that they're driving Toyotas and Hyundais and Kias, and they're brand specific, and they can be very loyal groups of people that you just need to have somebody speaking Spanish in the service drive, somebody speaking Spanish on the showroom, and you need to have that. And so I was interested to hear that you're bringing this message, and it is a good message because the greater Hartford market, we have a tremendous Hispanic population, and they are a big.
Hey, Garrett, you touched on it. Flip it. Think about how uncomfortable people are when they go to any country and they don't speak the language. They feel uncomfortable. They feel embarrassed. They feel like an outsider. And that's just a vacation. Imagine going in to try to make a transaction that involves a lot of money, credit, a lot of things, and you feel you're not communicating in any way, shape, or form.
No question about it. No question about it. And it's a big expense. And when they're, they do studies, and, when they talk about people of color are paying more money in interest and more money on this, unfortunately they are. And that has to, so the compliance end of it is, dealers need to understand is that the government can come in and see the fraudulent activity, or they can take the records and put it in spreadsheets and see where a minority class is being taken advantage of.
Louis, I got another question for you. We're hearing that when a sale is made to one family, it's not the one family, and Larry brings this up all the time. They'll refer their extended family and the people they work with and the people that it's the very different mentality that you mentioned the loyalty. When they latch on to somebody that's going to be their car guy or guys or girls, they are loyal to the point where they bring everybody in their ecosystem in on hey, you got to talk to these guys.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes,
more so than when you're asking somebody in America, hey, bring on your family and friends. They go, yeah.
It's the truth. Yeah, it's the truth. Just a quick example. Beaver Toyota.
Yeah.
They go. A lot of their customers. They're like, they don't say go to Beaver Toyota. They say go see my friend John Duran.
Yeah, my buddy.
Go see my buddy John Duran. He helped me. He can help you. Closed. Done deal. You can ask for all the money down that you want. Full sticker. No negotiation, because he's my friend. He was referred. And guess what? They'll leave with a car. Next morning, they'll bring you lunch.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
The culture, there is definitely a lot more gratitude from the Hispanic community. And you're right. They will, or they'll feed you. They love to feed you. I learned rice and beans, and that's a staple now in all of their diets. And we used to go into some of the neighborhoods and have lunch, and I was the finance manager, and I would get introduced to all of them. He said, "Remember this one? We sold him a car, and we sold them a car." And then everyone wants to talk to you. And then it's like, hey, come on over. We'll help you out. And that's how you win the community. Just like that.
Yeah, but you paid for lunch, though, Gary, right?
Absolutely. No, Herb Chambers, Mitsubishi. I was there from 1993 to 1996. And we did have a lot of customers that needed some credit and needed help in first time. And back then, we had a bank, it was Bay Bank, and Bay Bank would help us, and they would give us some special tiers and special incentives that for people who have marginal credit or need some help, that's where we would go. I remember they stopped us on it. We used to have to FedEx. Sometimes we had family members in Puerto Rico, and we had to FedEx the paperwork Now, I mean, you don't even know, probably you don't even know if that's a real person. And you can't do that anymore.
For the future, we were talking, Louis, about the spend on the car market in this Hispanic community will be in the trillions. Can you speak to that and what your company is doing to kind of emphasize, hey, to the car dealers, there's a huge opportunity here, and
and where
some
are they?
will listen and some won't. So,
right, please. And where are they? Where are they?
There's no shortage of Hispanics. You run an ad, you build a relationship with somebody, multiple people. They'll do the drive. They'll drive for 3 hours. They'll drive for 2 hours, 4 hours. There's the lady that we met. We actually interviewed her in Toyota with John Duran. She drove 6 hours to buy a car. You tell me, where are they? They're all over the place. Hispanics are all over the place. There's no shortage of them. And guess what? Every single one of the Hispanics here in the United States need a car. You can't go anywhere unless you're in New York, right, or someplace like that. Every single one needs a vehicle. Over $2 trillion, I think, is the buying power of Hispanics.
yeah.
Hey, Louis, and they're probably as family oriented as anybody.
Right.
And you talk about a business that's based on repeat and referral. How smart is it to make somebody happy and feel comfortable and feel that you're an entrusted advisor to help them get a vehicle?
Exactly.
That's exponential growth business.
Exactly. They treat you, and now I don't want to generalize, but big chunk of Hispanics buying a car will treat you like a professional. They won't treat you like a salesperson. They'll treat you like,
well, they have it's their respect. There's respect. And so from your data, Louis, the Hispanic market is just very intimidated by the franchise auto dealer. And so they feel like they're going to be taken advantage of, they're going to be lied to, and that chunk of a very strong community right now is uncomfortable. So dealers need to make efforts to prove to them that they want their business now, and by doing more as opposed to just treating them as well, they're here again.
Hey, Louis, if it makes you feel any better, Hispanics aren't the only ones that have suffered in this field. It took us a long time to wake up the fact that women were the decision makers. Let's get more women involved in our business.
yeah. Well, and guess what? What about Indians? What about Koreans? What about, it's just kind of like a Pandora's box, because how many of people share the similar values as Hispanics do? We're talking about Indians, Koreans, I mean, just Brazilians, right? There's just so many ethnicities that Mike, you asked me, where does a dealer start? Well, if you got a lot of Brazilians, you probably should get a Brazilian salesperson. And then
Good idea.
You got a bunch of Koreans, maybe you should get a Korean salesperson and then make a video and then just boost it. Something as simple as that, right? Will it flop? Maybe. Will it not? Find out, right? And that's the fear that I think a lot of dealers have. They just are comfortable with what they're currently doing. They don't want to change something just because they got a salesperson, but that's what happened that's what happened in perfect example at Beaver Toyota with John Duran. That's what happened with John. He already had a following of people that trusted him, and then we just expanded on that. Patrick had no idea what he was going to build, how he was going to build it, right? Or whether where it was going to take the store. Now you go to Beaver Toyota on Saturday, looks like a Mexican store. It's filled with Hispanics, right? And so now it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen just simply because they boosted an ad. It took a lot of culture building within the store to understand how to cater to the market, to understand how to drive them through the sale and build a relationship. Because guess what? A lot of the leads that came in were people that weren't ready to buy. Why?
Right.
Because they had a special situation. They needed to get a tax ID. They needed to get, a certain process. They don't have papers. A lot of them don't have papers.
Well, trust. If they're not coming into the dealership, they don't trust the dealership. And so the dealer has to build back that they are a trusted place for them to come and get educated in the purchase if they like, and to talk in the language that they're most comfortable with.
And then they have to market it and promote it. Luis, I recruit and train, and I was at a dealership, and they introduced me to a tremendous individual, fluent English, fluent Spanish, great guy. And I just happened to look on their website, and it didn't say, we speak Spanish. Why not?
Yeah.
If you're not putting it out there,
yep,
who's going to see it?
Yep. No. And I'm going back to the 90s. And, unfortunately, well, I would say fortunately, there are plenty of smart dealers that will start to cater because they know that's the market. And the dealers that are waking up that realize that their biggest opportunity is in their local community and in their CRM, they're going to start doing things different. And you're absolutely right. They want, and they really don't want to drive 2 or 3 hours, but they will if they have somebody that they know is trusted, that they can go in and not get through the dance, and they can get the numbers and they can get what they want. If they want to purchase, they can, and not be rolled through the coals and treated poorly and pushed into an old used car. Those days are over, and there is a huge market. Greater Hartford market, I mean, I know that we have a tremendous amount of Hispanics in our market, and just like how everybody immigrates.
Yes, enter the experiment in a fail forward type of fashion.
Yeah.
Simply because you do a whole campaign in Spanish does not mean you're going to be successful in it. But you're going to find out some really interesting things about your culture, your processes, and then it's going to be up to the dealer principal to say, you know what, this is worth pursuing.
With a subprime lender, and a subprime lender says that they'll take ITINs, that's a pathway to citizenship for many people. So if you had dealers that knew how to handle that professionally and sold them a car and didn't run them through high expensive interest rates on subprime loans, they could get a whole new market themselves. And they're missing it. It's another sore that they could put a little bit of emphasis on and drag and get a lot more leads coming to their dealerships. And it's as simple as just putting that we speak Spanish and we can disclose the payments to you in your comfortable language. Yes,
and let's be honest here. So salespeople, you were talking about sales and how really salespeople get a bad rep. Some still associate like the high pressure, manipulation, being pushy. There's not real sales. It's real sales is service. It's understanding the needs, solving problems, building trust, guiding people and like towards something that can actually make their life better. You respect doctors for helping people, like teachers for educating, and the best salespeople do both. They educate and they serve, and they often do it under pressure with limited time and kind of like against outdated processes, which is like IT numbers, or maybe just not up-to-date processes like IT numbers. So my point is that within the Hispanic market, sales professionals are respected. They're not seen the same as just like the way, I guess, white folks buy cars, right?
Well, that's true. There's unfortunately, there's expectations of the white folks, but they're demanding, they're dictating, and no one wants to deal with that either. And then they'd rather deal with people who are uneducated so they can take advantage of it. And the reality is they need to start taking everybody and treating everybody the same and listening to what their situation is. Are they a first-time buyer, or do they need a truck for their business, or it's time to listen, as opposed to saying we've got some old cars in the back that we could put you in with low money down and get you approved through one of our banks that are going to charge you a lot of money, and that doesn't help anybody in the community.
Correct. Because guess what? 1 out of 4 cars are purchased by Hispanics. So whether the dealer has the process or they don't, they're going to buy anyways.
Yep.
And that number is only going to go up, not down. Hey, guys, I have to jump. Louis, I'll talk to you later if there's anything I can do to aid or help you. It would be a pleasure. You're definitely on the right track. We need to get these darn dealers on the right track.
Thank you, Larry. It's a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Louis, while we're at it, I don't want to forget this point. Can you tell our audience how they can get in touch with you, and maybe any other information that you'd like to, let them know? But my goal is to let everybody know how you're going to be able to connect with our audience, because some of them are going to lend a keen ear to what you've been saying.
Well, I hope so. And whether it is through us, or whether it is with their salesperson, or whether it is through whomever, it is a pressing point that people need to get into the market to help people that are looking to be helped. And the only people that are helping them is buy here, pay here, quite frankly, and folks that might not necessarily have their best interest in play. But to get in touch with us, you can go to alturaautomotive.com. It is ALTURA automotive.com. Right there, you can kind of see a little bit of some of our work that we've done. We are heavy in production. We do a lot of production, bilingual production, cinematic production. We do a lot of white label documentaries, and we do a lot of stuff, exciting stuff. But we've also been seeing a lot of really interesting stuff and exciting stuff in the automotive space, thanks to people like Beaver Toyota, that really was a milestone for us, and Patrick Abad, who was a person of that really catapulted our gifts and made us aware of our gifts and gave us a shot, really, quite frankly, gave us a shot to get into this space. So yeah, if anybody has any questions on what to do next, or maybe they just want some idea of how to move forward with this, I am an open heart, open mind type of guy, and I can be reached out at info@alturaautomotive.com, or my phone number is 678-602-2434. That's my cell phone number. You can call me. I'll answer.
Quick question. You know how good I am at Spanish. When I was a restaurant manager on the New Year's, I said, Feliz Años Huevos. So with that said, what does Alturo translate into?
Altura means altitude.
Nice.
Altitude.
And huevos is eggs.
Huevos is eggs, my friend. Yeah,
yes.
Happy
new eggs.
Happy new eggs. Yeah.
And that goes for Gary, because he's celebrating the Jewish New Year. Happy New Eggs, Gary.
Thank you.
Mike, if you really want to speak Spanish, just drink a couple margaritas and you'll be practically fluent.
I've done that before.
You're practically a native.
Louis, nice meeting you, Louis. You have a wonderful weekend. Mike, good seeing you. Everybody, enjoy the weekend. Sell some cars.
Let's do it. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Mike.
You got it, man. Have a great weekend, everybody. Love yous.